My name is Stefan. I'm a Christian, and the next follow-up question from other Christians is, what kind of Christian? Then I say I'm an Orthodox Christian, then they say, what's that? And then I have to explain it. And something I've realized after having this conversation a bunch of different times is that a lot of people know what Christianity is, and we don't really know the history of it. We have the Bible, and we don't know what came between the Bible and now. Why are there so many different types of Christians? Someone's Catholic, Baptist, Pentecostal, Evangelical, non-denominational. What's the difference between all these different types of Christian? This isn't going to be a video about what we believe, but about where we all came from. And please be forgiving, because this took 2,000 years to happen, and I'm about to try and condense it into about 5 minutes. It's highly abridged. A lot of good stuff is missing from this, but we'll see what we can do. So we begin at the beginning, which is also the end and the middle and the cornerstone of everything we talk about when we talk about Christianity, and that is Jesus Christ. The first book after the Gospels, which chronicle the life and teachings and work of Jesus Christ, is the book of Acts. And in the first chapter of Acts, Jesus instructs his disciples to spread the message of Christianity around the entire world. He ascends into heaven, and the rest of the book of Acts chronicles the beginning of the church. For the first 1,000 years of history, there isn't Catholics, Pentecostals, Baptists, Evangelicals, Orthodox. There is just the church. It's Christianity. It's one connected family. So the book of Acts ends and Christianity continues. The church grows largely in secret under persecution around the Roman Empire. Traditions are formed, prayers are written, services are beginning to emerge across Christianity. In the 4th century, Christianity is made legal. It becomes the official religion of the Roman Empire, and Christianity comes out from the shadows, and it's everywhere already. Since the beginning of the church, there were jurisdictional centers from which the church was able to keep organized and keep connected. These cities were the capital of the Roman Empire, Constantinople, Jerusalem, Antioch, Alexandria, and Rome. Over the next few centuries, the church keeps growing. These 5 main centers, as well as smaller centers across the empire, work together to convene councils in which they combat heresy, and they form the creed of Christianity, a small paragraph that establishes the truth of the church. Towards the end of the first millennium, some fractures have started to appear between one of these jurisdictional centers and the other 4. Each one of these centers has a bishop called a patriarch. The Patriarch of Rome, also known as the Pope, declares supremacy over the others. He states that he is the rightful head of the entire church, and the 4 Eastern Patriarchs disagree with him. Other fractures and disagreements spur this along, and one of the biggest ones is that Rome makes an adjustment to the creed without informing and forming a council with the others. These problems pile up to the point where in the 11th century, the church splits. East and West go different directions. 4 patriarchs go one way, and the Patriarch of Rome, or the Pope, goes the other way. This event is called the Great Schism. The church has ruptured. So for the moment, let's leave the East alone. We'll focus on the West. What happened next for Rome? Rome has split from the other 4 and continues its trajectory into the Western world. Councils are convened, meetings are called, theologians write books, things develop. In the 16th century, something happens that changes Western civilization forever, an event known as the Protestant Reformation. A number of believers begin to protest what they perceive as errors in the teachings of Rome. Some of the issues they protest are things that were protested 500 years earlier by the Eastern churches. They've come back to the fore along with new things that have developed and are perceived to be wrong by these reformers. A lot of arguments happen, there are a lot of debates and councils and meetings. In the end, the Reformation, as it is called, is unsuccessful. Instead of reforming the Roman Church, it creates entirely new miniature churches that begin to split and move away from the main bulk of Western Christianity. And from this moment, a lot of smaller churches begin to grow all over the place. The King of England has a disagreement with the Pope of Rome and declares the Church of England separate from the Church of Rome. The Church of England is what we call the Anglican Church, the Church of Rome is what we today call the Catholic Church. And in this confusing time when so many things are splitting and changing, lots of new smaller churches and titles start. And these varied and many little churches have either ended or continued or split into new ones and halved and multiplied and continue to do so until this day. And these are the various names that you are most familiar with in the Western Christian world. The Catholic Church, after the Reformation, had an event called the Counter-Reformation, in which they fixed some of the issues that were going on. They knuckled down on some things that were being confused during the Reformation, and they've continued until this day. The Catholic Church is still centered in Rome. And for now, that's Western Christianity. So now we go back 1,000 years, back to the Great Schism, the split between the Church of Rome and the four churches of the East. The Eastern Church is what we today call the Orthodox Church. That's us, that's where I'm from. The Orthodox Church continues to grow in the East. We still have those four patriarchs, and as the church grew further north and into the east, the church has other patriarchs now in Serbia, Romania, Russia, and Georgia, as well as smaller jurisdictional centers in other countries. And in the last century, it has arrived mainly through immigration and through a more open world in Western countries. These churches are all together. The national titles merely denote where they're from. Different flavors, if you will, different cultural expressions of the same Christian truth. A lot of Orthodox Christians today, sort of in my age, we tend to refer to ourselves just as Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox Christians rather than give ourselves the title of Russian Orthodox or Greek Orthodox. Even though we are that, it just makes it a little easier to explain why there's so many different names. But we are all connected, interconnected. We go to each other's churches. There is no real difference in our services. There is no difference at all in our theology. We all agree with each other. And there is only small differences in either languages or in art forms and the kind of food we get to eat after the service. So that brings us to modern day. That's where we're at. These are where all of these different names come from. I'm a member of the Eastern Orthodox Church, this continued family from the 1st century, and after the Catholic Church, we are the second largest body of believers in the world, and we're growing in the Western world as well now. Thanks to immigration, with churches popping up everywhere, there is a lot more English language resources about faith that you can find online, and more than I could ever tell you in 5 minutes. So, wrapping it up, that was the first episode of what is hopefully going to be an ongoing series talking about interesting stories from the early church, Christian history, theology, bits and pieces. Full disclosure, I am not a professional historian, I am not a trained theologian. My name is Stefan, I'm a filmmaker. I love Jesus, I love his church. I like to talk about it with people, and I hope to talk about it more with you. So please stay tuned for more as we go forward. If anyone was wondering what kind of tea I'm drinking, because I know I would be if I was watching this show, it is a sort of blend of Moroccan mint with black tea and sugar. It's very nice. And yeah, I drink a lot of tea, so that's gonna happen going forward as well.